Hello, my name is Bob. Welcome to a short stop on pool. Earl Strickland just finished playing straight pool for a week at Legends of Pocket Billiards. He's the obvious choice for this week's Rack of the Week. At first, Earl wasn't doing well, but by at least the third day, his play improved dramatically. His pace was slower, he was talking to himself less, and his shot selection and patterns became textbook, and even better than textbook. There are dozens and dozens of racks to choose from, but this one especially impressed me, as you'll see as we get into the rack. Before we begin, I selected a few shots. Watch how accurately the ball enters the pocket. Earl struck some balls roughly, but for the most part his accuracy did not degrade all week, even though the table was generous, even though the pocket would have accepted the ball if it brushed the rail going in. That, in my opinion, is one important ingredient for a world champion. Earl favored this type of break shot almost all week, and what I'm referring to is an inside angle. A lot of times his break ball was higher, but as you know, the line parallel to the rail, the cue ball's inside of that line. It's an inside angle, and what that does is a lot of the power of the shot remains with the cue ball, so you get a lot of force going into the rack. Often what his cue ball would do is curve to the bottom rail and then straight up in some fashion, keeping the cue ball safe. In this instance, what happens to the cue ball, I'm reminded of a story I read recently about Ralph Greenleaf. And the story is that most of his break shots he preferred to hit with a high ball, and his cue ball would hit the rack, bounce off the rack, and then burrow back through the rack. And that's what we're about to see with Earl. Look at the force on that cue ball. That's a powerful stroke that you don't see from a lot of players, and Earl does it effortlessly. Let's take a quick look at what the rack gave him. As I mentioned, everything opened wide. There's only two trouble spots. That's these two balls and these two balls. Obviously there's no break ball here. There's not a great break ball on this side, although this pink ball could be a break ball. It's a little bit low, but close to the break shot that he just shot. But all the balls are wide, and Earl just has these two areas to deal with. You can see him automatically and instantly lining up to this shot. Really, that's the only shot on the table, but he's going to open this cluster, and even though this is a thin cut shot, he does it very delicately. Now the 14 ball happens to move into another trouble spot, so he still has two trouble areas, these two balls and these two balls. And I guarantee you there's not much else on his mind. You can see as he's walking around the table, he's looking at the table. These are the two issues he needs to deal with because every other ball is wide open. How is he going to get on these two balls, and how is he going to open this cluster? And he's already decided how to deal with the two on the bottom rail, because he's choosing to shoot the 8 ball, which sets him up for the 1 ball, because this angle on the 1 ball allows him to send the cue ball here, open up these, and this is his insurance ball. Earl had a number of different shots to choose from, but he gave his two soldiers, the 8 ball and the 1 ball, a purpose by giving him this opportunity to open that cluster. Now Earl was a little unfortunate in that his cue ball almost scratched. He does have a shot on his insurance ball, but that's the only shot he has, and he's nearly straight in. So the goal now is merely to keep the run alive. He's not able to play position out into the table area on an easy shot. So all he's going to do is stun the cue ball forward a little bit. And the reason why is just forward of where the object ball is now, he's going to have a shot on 3 balls. This one, the 15 in the side, or this one. Now you see Earl is considering his options. He's taking a minute to look at the layout of the balls, and he very quickly recognizes which shot to shoot. Why would Earl shoot this ball? Think about that for a moment. Think about the layout of the table. I would consider this rack to be what I call solved. There's no big problems. And that's because the 14 ball goes in this side pocket. As long as you can get the cue ball up in this area, every ball has a pocket. There's no real trouble on the table. And so why would Earl shoot this ball, since I've already pointed out that's a great break ball, and here's it, the 9 ball is above it. That could be a key ball into the side pocket to get on this break ball. Take a moment to consider what the end pattern might be and what break ball he's choosing, since he's obviously not choosing this pink ball. Earl has chosen the 7 as his break ball. He's going to do a below-the-rack break shot, and there's a very good reason for that. Let's assume that the 9 is the key ball. Where is my K2 ball? There's nothing across from that pocket. There's no great K2 ball to set him up for the 9. Now, in reality, there's a lot of balls that you could play position and get straight in on the 9 and the side. That's not a problem. But what Earl sees is a great opportunity, and that is, if the 7 ball is the break shot, which ball is the key ball? Obviously, you look at all the balls on the table, pretend that every one of them is a cue ball, and ask yourself, which ball would I use to shoot my break shot? And it would be this ball. So this is the key ball. Do the same exact exercise. Which ball on the table would be the perfect key ball for this ball? And that's the 13. I believe that's the 13. So that is the K2. There are a number of balls that can function as a K3, but knowing that you have the perfect stop shot for your end pattern makes this the best pattern to choose. Earl already has it on his mind that this is a trouble ball, and we just mentioned that if we get the cue ball up in here somewhere, that's solved. This shot allows him to get the cue ball forward and up into that area to shoot the 14. That's the reason why he chooses this pattern. So this is his next shot, then the 14. Obviously he wants to get straight in or above straight in so that his cue ball can move this way. Then he's got a shot on the 2 ball, and then there will be 1, 2, 3 balls to come back down table from the 2 to get on the 15 and his end pattern. Let's see how it works out. On his first shot, he comes up a little bit short. He's just below straight into the side pocket. No problem. Just let the cue ball bump the 2, and then you still have a shot on the 2. And it's at this point that Earl decides to play position for the 3. You see him glance down at the 3 ball? There's a good reason for that. Now, what I would have chosen to do here is shoot low on the cue ball and try and bring it out here or out this direction so that I have a shot on either the 9 ball or the 3 ball down in this corner pocket. Earl does something a lot wiser than that. He uses his rails. Send the cue ball to the rail and down. So in that way, instead of my plan, I'm depending on my speed control to get the cue ball to go from here to here. With Earl's method, by using the rails, once the cue ball hits this rail and heads down table, you have a shot. Now the speed control doesn't matter. I can stop the cue ball from here to here, this entire distance, and I've got a shot on the 3 ball, and up here I'll have a shot on the 9 ball. This is a much higher percentage way to play that shot. Use your rails. Now at this point, Earl has a shot on the 9 or the 3. He has another option. He could shoot the 10 ball and just roll forward and use the 9 ball to get on the 3. But I like the 3 because it's straighter in, easier to control. He's much straighter in on the 3. Plus, he's going to shoot the 3 and use the 10 to set up for the 9. I would have liked to have been higher so I could shoot the 9 ball in the side to play the 15 next, but no problem. He's just going to draw it over. So look what happened. What did I just mention about depending on your speed control to get from here to here? Well, Earl just depended on his speed control to get from here to here, and he ended up short. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be straight in so he could shoot the 9 and just roll forward and get straight in on the 15. So as we know, precision cue ball is what straight pool is all about. This is the difference. 8 inches is the difference between having a perfect end pattern and being out of line and having trouble. And when Earl walks around and looks at the angle on the 9 ball, he slammed his hand on the table. He is upset. Now, I'm not saying that Earl should have gone to the head rail off that 10 and back down to try and get straight on the 9 ball, because I think that position was tougher than trying to draw the cue ball back, as opposed to the 2 ball where following to the head rail and out was much easier and more dependable than stunning the cue ball across. So now he's got a conundrum. Earl deals with it like a champion. He does a slow roll inside spin shot. And once again, the 9 ball enters the center of the pocket. It doesn't brush this rail. Perfect position on the 15. That's just a champion player right there. Stop shot on the 15, stop shot on the 13, stop shot on the 11, and he's on his break shot. Those last 3 shots are the reason why shooting that pink ball way up in the corner was the correct shot. This is what's of the highest priority, and that's getting on your break shot with a 100% chance of landing perfect on your break shot. Earl has a nearly parallel angle to this below the rack break shot, so that calls for 3 rails under the rack. Again, powerful foul stroke with inside English, struck perfectly. A little bit fortunate to have a really easy shot here, but he's also got a shot on the 1 ball on the side, this ball up in the corner, so another great break shot, and as you notice, hardly any balls are touching. And that was a rack by one of the best 9 ball players ever. Make no mistake about it, Earl Strickland is a student of the game. He loves pool, and when he was a young man, he played a lot of straight pool. In my opinion, that's one part of the reason why he became so good. I hope you found that informative, entertaining, and helpful. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Head over to satoriflatrack.com and check out the promo video for my new and unique pool ball rack. And of course, shortstoponpool.com for my book, A Shortstop on Straight Pool. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time at Shortstop on Pool.